Technical
To,
technical
I
difficulties.
know,
Yeah,
I know,
damn machine. I acting crazy. My
I
fault,
know.
fellas. What's up, man? Let's get it
Sorry.
started. Let's get it started.
What's up, Red?
What's up, brother? What's up, Rico?
Long time, good brother.
I know. Are we live yet?
Yes, sir.
Q?
We on. We cracking.
So we need to do a whole reintroduction and everything, huh?
Yeah, I
Hey, that's all right. That's why we can cut and edit. So
nigga getting old these days, right?
I know, man. Hey, welcome to another episode of Just Coolin' Podcast. I am Country Red.
DJ Quinn, what's good,
What's going on, man?
man?
Look who we have. Who is this? Go ahead,
yeah,
introduce yourself.
yeah. What's happening, fellas?
Not much.
What's going on, man? Introduce yourself. Tell us what you do, who you
Yeah.
are. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Let me get
yeah.
this straight
Dr.
though.
Ricco Wright,
Let me yeah.
Tulsa
Hold on.
native.
Let me get this straight. Doctor Wright. I'm sorry, Doctor Wright. Go ahead, brother.
It's love. It's love. Tulsa native, fourth generation. Langston University graduate.
Mm.
Columbia University graduate. Now owner of Black Wall Street Gallery.
Mm.
Man, I'm just here to be a catalyst for change and to put on for the ancestors. We do a lot of different things with Black Wall Street Gallery. We got two locations now, one in Tulsa on the corner of Greenwood and Archer. I see you with the shirt, Red.
Oh yeah, man. It's called
That's
branding.
fire, bro. That's
Branding.
fire.
Appreciate it. So hey, you got the hoodies too.
Oh wait,
Q
hold
got the
on.
hoodie on. There
Oh,
you
y'all
go.
got hoodies too. Okay,
Yeah,
I gotta cop me one of them.
Oh yeah, I'm
absolutely.
ready.
Hey man, so Langston, when we was there, man, just explain to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people and I let them know, hey, Black College, you should definitely attend at least a year or 2 years. You just
Yeah.
because they get that feeling that a Black college gives you. Can you talk about that a little bit? Just let them know, man,
Yeah,
because
for me, it was very interesting because, I didn't grow up in a household with people who were college graduates. Really, they didn't even have some college. So when I went to Langston, like the freshman orientation was so live. Like I'm
mm,
surprised I even made it through the first semester.
We all
Right?
remember that.
Like it was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen in my life. You got all of these like young black people eager to like be away from home and around each other, but then you had all of these other black professionals.
right,
And this was like the first time I had encountered a black person who was like doctor somebody that wasn't a medical doctor. I was like, "What you mean you a doctor or something? You ain't a medical doctor. What you a doctor of? You know what I'm
right,
saying? I'm coming at him.
right.
But it was like that type of exposure was so critical to my personal and social development. And like I feel like, I agree with you. Like at least 1 year at an HBCU can be very transformative because that's when I was really getting in tune with like my African ancestral history,
Mm,
like what it means to be black in America. I'm having like all of these different conversations with like-minded people about topics that like they matter to me, but I wasn't at that level of like consciousness to really have them. But like everybody I was talking to was always cool about like, yo, understanding you got to read more, you got to know how finances work. But then at the same time, like we playing hot boys, you know what I'm saying? Like playing the NFL blitz. Like it was incredible to have that type of experience. And I tell people all the time, like I needed Langston in order for me to survive and succeed at Columbia because I needed that foundation. And Langston also allowed me to make some mistakes and still get a second, third chance. I probably would not have gotten that at a PWI. They would have been like, all right, you failed this course, we're going to get rid of your financial aid, and that's it.
all
I'm
right.
glad you brought it up, Rico, man. So I wanted to kind of piggyback off of what you just said. How did you find the discipline in yourself to kind of journey and navigate through life? Because we all went there, it's a lot of partying. You got to be disciplined. You got to take your tests, do all your schoolwork. So how did you find a way to stay disciplined throughout all the distractions?
Yeah, well, I just knew that if I failed and had to go back home, like that wasn't a situation I wanted to be dealing with. Staying with
Yeah.
my moms and my stepdad, and my stepdad, he was going through his own personal issues. And I just knew that that's just not what I wanted. It was as simple as that. Like I know if I don't buckle down and get whatever I need to get done, and I have to go back home, like a lot of those cats that stayed back home that didn't do anything, I already knew where my life was headed. And that's just, I didn't want that, yo. I just didn't want that.
You know, yeah, I feel that, man. But like you said, the parties, man. I love the parties. The parties was just, man. And
You
I
had to
never.
have them, though. You had to have them. You know what I'm
But
saying?
listen, when I
Life
got
is about balance. That's what I try to tell
right,
young people, too. First of all, when you're 20s, you need to be making all kinds of mistakes. You know what I'm
absolutely,
saying? You don't want to be 30, 40 years old making 20-year-old mistakes. you
absolutely,
know?
absolutely.
And so, yeah, the parties were so important, man, because like you got to be able to let loose after you work hard, going to class, going to meetings, doing whatever you got to do. Like, yo, you need that in life. And I'm realizing even to this day, like, you got to have balance.
Yeah. And you know what? When I was there, man, the first thing I said to myself was, man, all these black people here and ain't nobody tripping.
Right.
Everybody's here to get an education. Everybody is. Man, I went to class early, sat in the front row for real, because it was, and it was just all black love,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. A lot of people, this was interesting to me. They grew up watching a different world.
Mm.
And I didn't. I grew up watching Martin.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? And Martin wasn't talking about no college. The most Martin would have is like a HBCU like hoodie on
Right.
or something.
right.
But what I remember was like certain people talking about how dope the Grambling band was, or like how certain aspects of like HBCU life was like really fun. And like that's what really appealed to me. Like I wanted to be in an environment where I was like around certain people and like all, can I curse on here? Or is there no cursing?
Do what you feel, my
Oh, okay.
brother.
Like all of the cool shit was happening. Like you wanted to be where the cool shit was happening.
Right.
And so, like, to me, Langston is the only HBCU in Oklahoma, and I wanted to still be in Oklahoma, so it was a perfect fit.
Mm-hmm.
But like, a lot of these cats, they knew how to pick their courses. They knew like the support services that were available. I ain't know about any of that stuff. And so it was one of those things where because I didn't know, I just started asking a bunch of questions. Cause my uncle, he graduated from Langston. I
Oh.
was really supposed to be in Bro Hall because I ain't go to Langston with no scholarships. But my uncle knew the dorm lady in Brown Hall.
Right.
So he finagled my way up in that motherfucker. And I'm in the dorm room with the top scholar. He got like the third good Marshall scholarship. Bear in mind, all I got is the Pell Grant, but I'm up in there,
Right.
I'm up in there. So me, I'm bringing all of my No Limit Record CDs. I got my Cash Money CDs. I got my PlayStation with the NFL Blitz. So my roommate, like, yo, this dude is cool.
Right.
I brought the big TV and everything, but then he was teaching me his ways. So it was a nice like give and
Mm-hmm.
take. But I needed those cats who had been watching the different world growing up and whose parents went to college
Right.
and taught them the ropes to teach me. Because to be honest with you, I didn't know which way to go. I was like freshman orientation. I'm about to do this for another 16 weeks. you know.
Hey, I
That's
feel
what's up.
that. Yeah. So definitely,
So I
man.
guess we're gonna go ahead and y'all wanna go ahead and transition into sports or keep on vibing off of
You
this.
watch
What do you
sports,
think?
Rico?
I used to watch sports a lot more than I do now. Like, I mean, I went to Langston to be honest with hoop dreams.
Mm.
Yeah, because I wanted to be Allen Iverson.
Who was a
I
coach?
remember that.
Who was a coach
James.
then? Who was coaching Langston back then?
Ooh.
Coach Willis was the assistant coach,
Okay.
and then I forget the head coach's name, but I really liked Coach Willis, so I used to always like just kind of holler at him. But I ain't make the squad when I tried out though.
I
Like
didn't
this,
either.
I got crushed, bro. Like when I tell you I got crushed, like for real, I think it was only two cats that got picked up, and each one of them was at least 6'5".
Yeah,
you
that was
know.
Mm.
what
But
was
I
the
hated the tryout because everybody was just trying to ball out, and I'm up here trying to play organized ball, trying to show that I can hoop.
right. What was the?
You
I
know
forgot
what
the
I'm
little
saying? But
guard's name. The little guard that
yeah,
was
but
there.
as far as the sports, I love NBA. I love college ball, but I haven't. I sort of lost it with the NFL. I mean, I usually catch like a couple of games that the Cowboys are playing. I like the Cowboys.
Say that
Um,
again, Red. Hold on. Say that again.
yeah, yeah, but
Oh,
the
thank you.
boys be struggling though. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
you know we gonna be all right though. We gonna be
Yeah,
all right.
what
Don't
I've
even worry
been
about
most surprised by is the Patriots. Like
it.
they looking real bad right now.
I told Red Cam it's over for Cam. It's
I
over.
think it's over. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Cam ain't yeah. It's
It's
over.
over.
It's over for Cam. He's finished,
I
man.
think he'll get another shot somewhere else. It ain't gonna be for New England though. I think they'll give him another shot.
Who? New England?
No, not with New England, but
Oh,
another NFL team.
he gonna
No,
have
no, no. It's over.
he gonna
As
have
far
to
as
be
that
a
squad, it's over.
he gonna have to come
Yeah,
out the bench.
I don't think their system fits his style of play.
Right.
Yeah, he ain't. Yeah, because he needs to be a more of a passer. Not saying that he's not, but he's a more of a running quarterback than passing. But he got to, but that after that injury though, man, he was never the same. I mean, just to keep it a beam.
Right.
That energy, he just never been the same after that. So, hey man, let me ask you this question, Rico. You ran for mayor, right?
Yeah.
How was that experience?
I mean, for one, it was short lived because you know how they do us. Um, you know, we can never achieve certain things, or they always want to make certain that we're reminded that this is not for us. So when we do accomplish these things, they're always big deals. I decided to run for mayor the very day that like was the last day to file. So I'm gonna tell you how this happened. So the night before, I'm on the phone with Greg Robinson, and Greg Robinson's like, "Yo, a lot of the black leaders met tonight. We're trying to figure out who's running for mayor." And I was like, "Oh, I ain't even know that's what time of the year it was. I'm not following politics like that."
Right.
And so I was like, "Yeah, well, good luck with that. Like, I'm not interested in that." So we get off the phone, and the next morning, I get a text message from the lady with CNBC. They had filmed me or whatever, and they were about to release the segment that evening. So she's texting me, and she's like, it's too bad you aren't into politics. And I'm like, yo, why you say that? She was like, because you're a great leader, and the world needs great leaders. This was after the George Floyd
Right.
thing. You got people that want to see different individuals in these leadership positions. So she gassing me up, and I'm like going for it. You know what I'm saying? She sounding real good. So I was like, you know what? Like, I was talking to a dude about the whole mayor office, and I might do that. So I said, let me call my publicist and see what she says.
Right.
And based on what she says, that'll determine if I run. So I called my publicist and I was like, yo, I'm about to say something real left field right now. I said, I'm thinking about running for mayor. And she was like, you know what? I've been thinking about the same thing. I said, then let's do it. So she was like, all right, let me call you back. I got to find out when the deadline is. So an hour later, she calls me back like, yo, today is the last day. If you want to file, like, you got to do it. So I was like, yo, I'm doing it. So check this out. So PBS came to interview me that day because I hit my regular schedule. Like, all of this mayor shit was like new.
Right.
So the dude from PBS comes. I'm in the middle of filming, and Kojo calls me, and I'm like, yo, let me pause for a second because I got to take this call. So I answered Kojo, and I'm like, yo, what's good? He's like, yo, are you watching the Black Wall Street Times like on Facebook? I'm like, nah, I'm in an interview. He said, yo, Greg Robinson running for mayor. I said, oh shit. Because listen, I'm gonna tell you, had Greg told me the night before that he was gonna run,
Uh
I
huh.
would have told the lady the next day, like, yo, I'm backing my homeboy running for mayor.
Right.
But Greg must have decided that the same time I decided in the morning. So anyway, I'm like, well, shit, I'm in the middle of this interview. I gotta finish it, but I already done told my people I'm running, so I'm running.
Right.
And so like I tried to call Greg, but he was already like doing his interviews at the I don't know where he I think he might have gone to the the election board to file. I know that's where I went.
Right.
And so, anyway, I decided to run. It was like, oh wow, like you got these two young black dudes running for mayor. They might split the vote. And I could understand where people were coming from, but it was like, well, nah, like I don't. I think one of us can still win.
Right.
And so, man, the whole Juneteenth weekend happened. It was like crazy nice. All of the media and press. Obviously, Trump came to Tulsa. That was like crazy.
Right.
And the first day after the Juneteenth weekend, white girl had the press conference, said I sexually assaulted her. And I said, okay, this is how they do us. This is the
Oh
Dick
man,
Roman
we
story.
already know. We already know.
This is what led to the massacre. And I couldn't believe it. Couldn't
Listen,
believe it.
they try
But
to
at the same time, I could because I've seen this narrative play out time and time again. And so,
all the
I
time.
mean, there are some things I can't really talk about right now because I'm in like some legalities, but
Absolutely.
just know that I'm
Yeah, no
busting
worries.
back. I'm busting back because sometimes you got to let people know to not play with your name. You can say I don't want Rico to win and you can campaign against me, but when you try to ruin somebody's life, that's when you've crossed the line.
Right.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So I want to leave it at that because I want to just make sure that I'm doing everything according to my attorney. But
Was my
you
next
know that was
question.
a rough period for me. You know because there were a lot of people that turned against me without really asking the question like, are they trying to set him up? Like, what's really going on?
Right. Well,
So I was like, yo, you know what? I appreciate the Most High for showing me certain people's true colors because I needed to see them.
hey, I was talking to some people and we already knew what it was. We already seen the narrative and how it plays out before, so we already knew it was
Right,
setup. So you know what I'm saying.
right.
But my question for you: will you run again, brother? Because we need you. On for real.
I mean, that's a great question. I'm not really into politics, but that's probably the reason that I should get involved. But I don't think so. You
Okay.
know, and the other thing is, to be
Hey,
honest
we
with you, to be
behind you.
let me tell you the
If you
truth
running,
though. Let me
we
tell you the
behind
truth.
you.
Nigga, the mayor really ain't got that much power, bro. You know, and that's the problem. The mayor really doesn't have that much power. And so people get caught up in these positions
Mm,
of authority, but they're not true positions of leadership. Like I want to be in a position of leadership.
gotcha.
So like with my gallery and now I got two locations. Like I'm able to do far more in this capacity because I can focus on the global scale. If I were to run for mayor of Tulsa again, that's just with respect to Tulsa.
Right.
And so, you know, the other part that's really interesting, when I ran for mayor, you know what most of the comments were about?
What's that?
My hair. He doesn't look fit to be mayor. Just look at his hair. And I'm like, here we see, and that's what I'm saying. Like
Right.
these were certain people in Tulsa. This was their mindset. You know what I'm saying? And there are a lot of them back home. And that was the part that really, really frustrated me.
Yeah, man. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you for being transparent and very authentic. We're gonna switch gears just a little bit about the Black Wall Street Gallery. What
Mm.
inspired you to open up the Black Wall Street Gallery?
Oh
What
man,
was
that's
behind
this
that?
man. Listen, this is probably my favorite question. This is
I know
probably
you
my
can
favorite
ask all
question.
the time, but
Yeah, let me tell you why this is my favorite question. Because to a lot of people, it does not make sense how I went from math to art. You know what I'm
break it
saying?
down.
Mm.
And specifically like being a math professor to owning the art gallery. But I'll tell you what happened. So I ended up getting laid off when I was at Langston because they had some budget cuts, and then Langston had this last in, first out policy. So got laid off. I was depressed for a whole year because you got to understand, I uprooted my whole life from New York. I'm in New York for 10 years straight. I love it. I'm like becoming a New Yorker. My accent kind of changing. You know, my swag is different. I'm wearing the butter Tims. You know, the whole thing. You know, you come to New York, it's
Absolutely.
a whole different swag, right?
Absolutely.
So I done uprooted my life. I'm here at Langston for 2 years, didn't get laid off. So after that year of depression, I was like, you know what? I want to give Oklahoma one more chance. So I decided to move back home. And I took some time to understand the landscape, but then I started hosting these what I call soirees. It was like sophisticated parties, right? So I held two of them at my crib in Gilcrease Hills. The first one, it was much more underground,
Is,
but like 100 people showed up.
is it like
So everybody was like,
all white parties, something like
I
that?
ain't do the all white. That's Diddy. You know, I
Uh,
ain't want to jack Diddy's ideas. You know what I'm saying? But I might have to throw an all white party someday. You
right.
know what I'm saying? But like the first one was 1920s Harlem meets 1920s Paris. It was like, you know, the ladies, they wear the flappers and the dudes is decked out in the
Right, right.
nice suits or whatever. So I did that. And everybody was like, yo, when you gonna do another one? So I was like, I'll do one the next month. And this time, no, I decided to curate a show. So I had these artists bring artworks and I put them all around the house, upstairs, downstairs. And then I tapped Steph Simon. He ended up having a listening party at midnight at the house. It's 250 people at the house party. Red, was you there?
Nah, I probably missed that one, man. To be honest, I
Okay.
might have missed that one. I heard about it though.
So
I missed
listen, there was so
Should
many
have been
people
there,
there.
Red.
It was packed out. But the problem was there was so many people. I had a cat upstairs. He smoked so much weed he had to take a shower upstairs. I had a lady passed out in the bathroom downstairs. I'm talking overnight. She passed out. You know what I'm saying? And so this is one of them house parties that like after you have it, you don't want to have another one. So my whole thing was, yo, we all need a space because like I saw how people from different backgrounds, people from different industries, they came to this party,
right.
and I noticed that they were also like loving the artwork. Like it all became an experience, and that's when I was like, yo, given that I don't see that much black art in these galleries in Tulsa, like we need to have a space of our own. And
Hmm.
that's when I started looking for a space. And I knew I wanted it to be in Greenwood somewhere because I wanted to name it Black Wall Street Gallery. I didn't care about naming it Ricco Wright Gallery. Nobody give a fuck about that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Like when you're trying to attach yourself to a history and you want to talk about that history, you give it that moniker. So basically I looked around. The Greenwood Chamber had a space available. I said, yo, that's what I want. It was the corner storefront. And in a month, I opened that joint up. And people couldn't believe it. Like, I was really serious. This was August 2018. I told people, yo, I'm about to open up a gallery in 1 month. They were
Right.
like, man, he ain't going to do it. Yo, it was 2,000 people at the grand opening.
Wow.
wow,
That's
it's
dope, man.
amazing.
That's dope. So you say you got a second one, right? And you just opened a
Mm-hmm.
second one in New York. Then that's
Yeah. So basically, I'm in this area called Soho.
okay.
Soho is where all of the nice like stores are. So you got Coach, Louis Vuitton, you got all of these. Everybody really has like some kind of flagship store here.
Right.
But the only two black-owned businesses in Soho are Black Wall Street Gallery and the Billionaire Boys Club. That's Pharrell's clothing brand.
Hmm. Okay.
That's it. But Soho is downtown Manhattan. Across the street from where I'm at is Tribeca. Like
Okay.
Jay-Z and Beyonce used to have a condo in Tribeca.
Right.
So it's just mad money over here. Chinatown is down the way. The Lower East Side is not too far. So like a lot of history is here. Like a lot of action is here. Of course, we're in a pandemic, so it's not as much. But my thinking was, if I can open up this gallery during the pandemic and start some movement going, by the time we come out of the pandemic, Black Wall Street Gallery the spot to go to.
Hmm. Right.
And I
Right.
got the downstairs, I ain't gonna tell y'all what it is, but it's nice down there.
Right. Right. Okay. Hey, well,
Nice exchange down there.
Some people might call it the boom boom room. That ain't what I call it though.
Oh man.
let me ask you this. Tell the youngsters who's listening or anybody that's doing art who's listening, how would they go about trying to get their art into your store? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The best thing to do would be for them to submit images of their artworks and maybe a bio to info@bwsgallery.com. I often get people who literally come into the gallery. There are people who hit us up on Instagram. You can find us bws.gallery. Um, but for the most part, like people just want to know like how they can show their works, just as
Right.
you asked. And right now, like in New York, I'm curating most of the shows. And back home, Queen, she's actually my cousin, but Queen Alexander, she's now the new curator in Tulsa.
Okay.
So what she would do is just basically look at whatever artworks are submitted and decide if she wants to include them in a group show, if she wants to do a solo show or whatever. Um, me, I'm like trying to curate shows and work with other curators here in New York because like I'm meeting a lot of artists that are like at the top of the food chain, right?
Okay.
And so what I'm trying to do is situate Black Wall Street Gallery in New York where we're getting paintings of at least 10,000, 20,000, if not 50,000 for the piece. Like this Ali painting behind me, that's a
Mm.
$10,000
Let
piece.
me see that. Lean over a little bit. That's cold right there. That's a
Yeah,
painting.
that's a 60 by 60, 5 feet
Ooh.
by 5 feet,
Yeah, that's dope.
So the good thing about being in New York is that people here, especially like those collectors, they're used to paying a lot of money for artwork.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm able to balance out things by virtue of selling these more expensive paintings here to make sure that Tulsa's good as well. Just in case if in Tulsa we're not moving the paintings as much as like we used to,
Right.
because it was different. Like when I was there, like I know how to sell artwork. I know how to talk to the collectors or even first time buyers. Queen is dope, but she's new to like the art world, so
Gotcha.
she's still learning things. She's definitely using her creativity. Things in Tulsa are running well, but there's an art to selling art, you know.
Right.
And like there's a dude, y'all may have heard of him before. His name is Tory Kittles. He's an actor. He's about to be in the Equalizer. It's coming out right after the Super Bowl.
Mm.
He came in here the other day, bought a painting,
Uh-huh.
and then he done already sent my information to his homeboy Russell Hornsby. Now he hit me up. Well, he ain't hit me yet, but he's supposed to hit me up. So like he's wanting the painting.
Right.
What ends up happening then is that they start sharing all of their networks. They send them to Black Wall Street Gallery.
Yeah.
But see, it was much more difficult for me to do this back home because Tulsa doesn't really have a spotlight on it.
We know it's not the big city. You know that's what
You
it
know what I'm
is.
saying? Like,
Absolutely.
if I'm being honest, like I wish it were different, but it just isn't. Like
Yeah.
we can say a lot of people are like paying attention to Tulsa, and there's more for sure. But a lot of that has to do with the centennial anniversary.
Mm. All right.
Not so much because Tulsa is like really, really growing. It is, but it's not growing as fast as I wish it was. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. Rico, let me ask you this. Have you had any setbacks or challenges running the art gallery up there in New York?
Um. Yeah, I've had some challenges for sure. So, one major challenge that I had when I first got here, I didn't know the artists,
Mm.
but I'm trying to like curate a show. And so I had planned for an artist that I know in Oklahoma to actually be a part of the grand opening. And things just kept falling behind because, we're dealing with COVID and then shipping takes a long time. So I had a week to figure out who I was going to have in the gallery for the grand opening. I got 500 people expecting to come. This is during the pandemic. So I'm on Instagram trying to figure it out, and I ended up running into this cat named Troy Jones. Turned out to be an incredible situation because he's a prolific painter. He's got smaller works for sure. So like I wanted larger canvases, but like when you're in the crunch, you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
But it ended up being the best thing because I got to know this brother. He's actually really, really skilled, and he hadn't had a solo exhibition in New York. So Black Wall Street Gallery granted him access to have something that some people never get as artists, you know.
Yeah.
And so like I was worried for a while though, because I wasn't sure like what was gonna happen. But the other part of that is that I'm new, so I'm considered the new kid on the block. I'm only 3 months in, so I'm only just now getting to know a lot of these artists, and it takes time to build these relationships. The same goes for collectors. They're only just now learning about me, so I'm having to establish relationships that takes time. Um, and so I'm just really being patient with the process. But that's challenging because I see that we have great works in here, but I don't have access to the people as like Gagosian Gallery. Gagosian Gallery has been here for a while. Everybody knows Larry Gagosian. Even Hove done dropped Gagosian's name in a verse,
Right.
right? So it's nothing for Gagosian to say, okay, I'm gonna have a Derek Forger at my gallery, and then he sells out the show before the opening.
Mm.
So because that's how it goes.
Right.
So I'm still learning. I'm learning the art world. I'm learning the game. I'm learning a lot of stuff. And so with that comes a lot of challenges because some stuff that I have to do is trial and error.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely, man. I'm gonna get that link from you. That way we can get people to, whoever's doing artwork and submit it to you, and hey, see what happens. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Let
saying?
me let me say this to the people. If they are artists and they're listening, the number one thing I would tell them that I've learned from other artists. Actually, there are two things. One, create art for yourself.
Mm.
Put all that you have in you that you care about into that piece, but do it for yourself. And the reason that's important is because once people see that you put your all into something, you put your passion or whatever emotion you're dealing with onto that canvas, um, it'll resonate with other people.
Mm.
There's something courageous about artists when they're true to themselves and they just say, you know what, I'm doing this for me. It reaches a lot of people. When artists start trying to tailor to this audience or that audience, they lose their own style. And one thing that's selling in New York, which is to say, really around the world, are these artists that have their own unique styles, and you can see one of their paintings and say, oh, okay, that's a Kehinde Wiley,
Right.
or oh, that's a Mr. Star City. Like when you're at that level, when people go to a museum or a gallery and they can recognize your work, that's when you're there. It's like
Absolutely.
that's when you've reached that level of artistry where you become like successful in my eyes. You may not have ever sold a painting, but if people can start recognizing your work,
Hmm.
that's huge. The second thing I would say, at least in New York, these large canvases are where it's at. These collectors, they want big shit. You know what I'm
He
saying?
said, "I'm putting up."
So, I mean, I'm gonna show y'all this real quick. You see this Beyonce piece right here?
Mmm. Okay.
That joint is a 66 by 58.
Mm.
So you don't need anything else whenever you put that in your house. You just put that on the wall. You ain't got to put no sconces or nothing else around it. They love these larger works. So I would tell artists, you can practice on smaller canvases. You can even practice on paper if you're doing like sketches. But if you really want to go big in the art world, paint on larger canvases because that's what's moving.
Hey, y'all heard him. Y'all better get your paint on for sure. I like that.
Giving y'all some
Right.
free game.
All right, Rico. Let's switch gears. Give me your top five artists, man. Hip hop. Let me see where you at.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive? Top five
All
hip hop
right.
artists.
I'm gonna go with the dead first because I gotta pay respects to him. Pac.
Is this 1 through 5? Are you going in order, or is
Nah, I'm
this
not
no
doing no
no?
order
Okay,
thing because
all right,
that changes every day of the week.
all right.
I'm gonna go with Pac and Big for the dead. I love both of them, man.
So,
And then alive, Three Stacks.
mm,
Definitely Three Stacks. I think he's underrated. I think a lot of people, um,
did you get it?
it's just like what he was saying. The South got something to say, and people, they get caught up in if you're not from the East Coast that you're not a dope MC. But like Outkast changed that, and to me, Three Stacks, man, he's just so lyrical and witty.
Have
Um,
anyone of y'all checked out the new Goody Mob album though?
I haven't.
Mm. You checked it out, Red?
You know I already checked it out, man. We went
Nah,
over it a
man.
couple of podcasts ago.
Did we?
Survival Kid, come on. Yeah,
I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
listened
Hey,
to
but
it, man.
I like Goody
yeah.
Mob, man. I mean, from back in the day, like Soul Food and all of that. That was fire.
Right.
But yeah, I would say Pac. I would say Big. I would say Three Stacks. Um, I gotta go with Kendrick.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
to me, like Kendrick Lamar epitomizes hip hop lyricism in his finest. He's also a scholar of MCing.
Hmm.
And so I find that a lot of people, he raps fast sometimes, so it's kind of hard to kind of capture the essence of what he's getting at. But you could tell, man, the dude takes his time when writing. Speaking of writing, my last person, it's got to be Hove, bro, because
Mm.
to me, Hove got a deep catalog. He's like he said, he's the most consistent. He's like the Cal Ripken Jr. of this shit. But also Hove inspires me on a different level. Like just being your own boss, um, you know, executing ideas, shifting the culture, making sure that people recognize his evolution as a man, as an artist. And he's a businessman, right? And he, one thing about Hope that I've noticed, like he's found a way to like position himself to be like the voice of our generation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like everybody in hip hop, for the most part anyway, looks up to Hove. Like he's at this untouchable level.
Right.
And so I think if a lot of cats were to pay attention to his career starting, I mean, you can start with Reasonable Doubt for sure, but he was like rapping long before that. But you just look at his trajectory and look at some of the decisions that he made, some of the partnerships that he had that he no longer has. Why is he not tight with Dame Dash anymore? And why is that okay? Because it
Mm.
is, right? People grow and they grow apart, and it's actually okay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody knows about his infidelity. He came out and was honest, but he dealt with it privately first, and now he's able to talk about it. Like, I think that shows a maturity of Hov, but he had to go through a lot. He had to go through therapy. He had to, deal with facing his father who wasn't there in his life.
It's for the
He had to
growth.
confront
For the
the fact
growth.
that his mom is a lesbian. Like, just some real shit that Hov has had to deal with. And I think a lot of these young artists they could learn a lot if they were to pay attention.
I definitely agree with that. What's that? What you got?
Album. Let's talk about some classic albums.
Go ahead.
What is that?
Classic. I'm gonna hit you with one. Nocturnal. Helter Skelter.
Oh, Heltah Skelter. Yeah, 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 yeah.
What y'all know about that one? This is our part where we kind of just go over some classic albums. I don't know if we have enough time, but we're just gonna go over a couple of them real quick. Uh, so Helter Skelter. This is where it had Sean Price, Ruckness, Boot Camp Click. I know you're familiar with them because he was
Yeah,
in New
Boot
York.
Camp Click for sure.
Absolutely.
So y'all remember any standout tracks off of that album? Did
Uh,
I go too far back?
no, not at all. I was bumping that album the other day, trying to think of the name of the couple of tracks. Uh,
They had Operation Lockdown, Let the Brains Blow,
all of them
uh,
was
I
tight.
tell
On the
you
Four to
what, Red, I'm
Fly,
gonna listen
East
to
Coast
that
Child.
album because that's an album that I've never really listened to, bro.
Okay, it's all good. Yeah, go back and listen to it. It has that boom bap, grimy, beat minors is on the tracks, and so you'll like. It's kind of like a more rugged, more grimier Black Moon album.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you like Black Moon, you'll like this album. Then the next one is MF Doom. I don't know if you guys can see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
Rest
That's the joint. I like Mad Villainy. I do. I like that album more, but like MF Doom, man, rest in peace, yo.
Word, yeah.
Hey, but I'm gonna tell you something that was kind of beautiful. The villain died on Halloween. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know she waited till the end of the month to announce it to the world.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, it just made me smile a little bit when I learned that he died on Halloween. He the villain, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Uh,
Then I have another one, 918 from the town. I might stump y'all with this one. It's their first album. It's one of the first major rap groups to come out in 918. They was on Smuggling Records.
Hey, they were yeah. They messed with E40 and them at one point in time. They was on like a
Yeah, man.
little.
A lot of collaborations with rap a lot artists too, like UGK, Devin the Dude.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, wait, what's the name of that artist you just pulled up?
so this one, this is a double CD. So you have Zaggin gonna be Zaggin, and then you have Reincarnated. And so this is kind of hard to find. I actually really don't even have the original CD. This is just they just went out. They re-released this one, so they put it back out. But go back and check this out. It's a classic album. This is what I used to listen to when I was in high school at Langston, my senior year. They was real high, but they was kind of short lived. Some legal stuff came up, but it was pretty
Hey,
dope.
who had that song? They said Tulsa cold chillin'. Who had that? Y'all remember that joint?
Yeah, that was D. That was D. Rob and
That was D-Rob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
D-Rob. I
That
think
was
he's
my
still putting
joint
out
back in
music.
the day.
yeah.
Yeah, he's still putting out music.
D-Rob. Yeah.
What was the name of that group? Wasn't it a group?
Yeah,
Ah,
I just remember D-Rob.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't even think of the name of that group though. What was the name of that group in the live chat? Does the live chat have a question?
if Devin is still on it, he would know. I forget. It's on the tip of my tongue, but if Devin is still in the chat, I know he know.
Yeah, they was. I remember they had a group out. Rico, I'm gonna hit you with who you got, man. This is a who you got segment. I'm gonna choose two people.
Wait, I get
Oh,
to choose two?
No, I'm gonna name two people, but you got to choose one. Who you got?
Okay,
And,
okay.
and since you went with Hove, I'm gonna say Hove. My second one is gonna be Scarface.
mm.
Mmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Hove, but let me just say real quick that Scarface is underrated. Like even when he was rocking with the Ghetto Boys, Willie D was like my dude though. Like I really like Willie D. But Scarface, man, he's respected in the game. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Face has always been dope. The Diary is like a classic album. But I'm gonna go with Hove, bro.
You, you sure? Even when he had,
I am sure. I am
even
sure.
even over the smile joy, smile
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me.
Shout out to Pac too. Like
Uh,
I get it. But like I'm looking at
right.
I'm looking at this on many different levels, right?
I got you.
I would definitely say Hove got the upper hand, but like Face did a lot for hip hop, especially like rap a lot. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So yeah, and you know Tulsa, we grew up on West Coast music and
absolutely.
Houston and Dallas and New Orleans.
Right.
So I get it.
no,
I get it.
trust me though, I love Hove. I can't take nothing away from Hove. Hove is the dog. Don't get me twisted though, but absolutely, Scarface was up there with him. You know what I'm saying?
All right. We're gonna go ahead and transition. This question's for you. Usually I'll do a helpful tips segment, but since you have the art gallery, you have a lot of successful things going on. What can you give us like 5 tips to what it's like to open up an art gallery? Give us some 5 tips on starting an art gallery, if you could.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or just maybe in general, like
Business
Yeah,
wise,
opening a
that'll work.
yeah,
business,
absolutely,
right?
Right.
absolutely.
Um, Not only opening a business but operating it. The number one thing is definitely to have a vision just on your own, like you want to do something, you know that there's a gap you want to fill, so just have that vision. That's first and foremost, and that's like a personal thing. That's why you would even venture into something, like have that vision. And the way my mom used to say it, she would say, write the vision, make it plain. So
Mm,
write out whatever it is that you really think that you want to do. You tired of working for somebody, you want to be your own boss. Write down what you want to do. That's the first thing. It's a very easy thing to do too. It doesn't take much. The second thing, I always tell people like make sure you do have like some kind of business plan. And the business plan is just basically that vision that you have, along with like whatever whatever financial pro forma you have. So like you definitely want to make sure you work with somebody to come up with an idea of how much it's going to cost for you to
Right.
get started. You might need to do a build out in a new space. It might require a demo where you got to tear down certain things, then to build it up. Or you might go into a space that's already ready for you, right? But you're still going to have expenses because depending on what you have, you're gonna have to pay for, apparel or equipment or furniture or whatever it is. So budgeting is very, very important. And when you start going to people, say if you wrote up a pitch deck and then your pitch deck, you convince somebody to put in $10,000 into your vision. They also going to want to see a budget.
Right.
Well, where is this $10,000 going to? And how am I going to get my return on the investment? So a lot of people, they have ideas of business, but they don't know the process by which they can even get started. But if they ended up with a business plan, that business plan is going to put them in a position to talk to certain people.
Mm.
The budget is the most important thing, though,
Right.
because your budget is going to show like your cost of goods sold, your expenses, and your revenue. And you can do a budget for 12 months, you can do it for 5 years, you can do it for 10 years. The longer you can actually do it, the better, because that gives whoever you're talking to, whether it's the bank or an investor or a venture capitalist, how much you're going to need and how much you're going to earn. In other words, what that profit is year after year. Um, I would say another thing too, don't do this alone.
Right.
Don't do it alone. Like, I'm having a meeting tomorrow with like 4 people because I realize I can't do this by myself in New York. I have so much heat right now, like I'm on fire, and I just don't have enough time. Like that 25th hour is just never gonna emerge.
Right.
And I've had people come to me like, yo, whatever I can do to help, like just let me know. But because I wasn't even sure how this person could help me, I never asked. And then I got to a point where I was like, listen, this is too important for me to not tap into these people who are making themselves available.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interesting thing is they'll start out with a certain amount of sweat equity. But trust and believe that it's likely that these people that's going to volunteer, they're going to land them some jobs, or they're going to start becoming an art dealer so they can get a percentage of the commission.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's how this thing works. And so I've learned over time that it's okay to ask for help. One has to be humble enough to say, you know what, I need the help. Another thing I would say, you know, it's often that banks discriminate against people of color when it comes to business loans, small business loans.
Right.
It's
Right.
easy for us to go and get a student loan. They'll give us that in a heartbeat.
All day long.
But I would tell whoever is interested in starting a business to start establishing relationships with people who can grant them access so they can get what they need. You might need some startup capital. You might need some ramp up. Knowing some people at a bank is really good. Knowing people through organizations that can help certain individuals get started, like all of that is helpful, but it's all about who you know. It's just relationships. So if people aren't somehow, some way making connections. When you get somebody's business card, literally sit down and draft up an email. The vast majority of what I do in terms of my business is through email. Like I
Gotcha.
never realized that email was that serious.
Right. Right.
But email is the professional way to correspond today. It's crazy to me.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
the black and white that people refer to. They ain't really referring to letters anymore. It's about an email.
Mm.
So, these individuals who have aspirations of owning a business, like you've been getting people's business cards, reach out to them and just say, hey, I've got a goal of opening a business. Can we meet and discuss some ideas and you can point me in the right direction? Let me say this last thing.
All right.
This was one of the most important things that I learned since I've been in New York. So I created a pitch deck. The purpose of a pitch deck is so you can pitch to potential investors, right? So basically, in your pitch deck, you're saying, this is my purpose, here's the problem, here are my answers or my solutions. This is what I plan to generate in revenue. This is what you would get if you invest in me. Same thing Airbnb did, Facebook, Uber, they have all had pitch decks. But
Gotcha.
my homegirl told me something. She said, Rico, I want you to always remember when you go to people that you really want to invest in you, ask them for their advice and they're more likely to give. But the moment you go to somebody pitching them, asking for money, they're going to turn around and just give you advice.
Mm.
Bloop.
Okay. Okay. Y'all might have to rewind that and listen to that over and over again, a couple of more times. God, I
Yeah.
feel that. Yeah, that's what's up right there, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, you should have seen me when the lady told me that because really she just confirmed that I was doing everything I asked backwards.
Mm.
you know, because you think you going to the right person and doing the right thing, but no, like the people who end up investing in you or your business, they're really investing in you. Like it's because they've established a relationship with you and they believe in you. There's something about you, your magnetism, your charisma, your vision, whatever it is, they invest in you. So when you go to an investor and you ask for advice, you're really establishing that relationship.
Right.
You're being vulnerable. Hey, these are my challenges. This is my vision. This is what I hope to do. This is why I want to make an impact on the world. That's helping them to realize that you are the person they need to invest in. But
Mm.
they'll drop some gems on you, and then if you follow their advice, that's going to make them feel good. They're going to want to invest in you.
Right.
But if you go to somebody and you just flat out asking for the money, you haven't established a relationship, they're going to look at you like, oh, you just want me to, you're not really interested in me. You just want the money
Mm. Gotcha.
without the relationship. And that's not how it works.
Gotcha. Yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta. The relationship is key.
Relationship is key.
Mm.
Uh,
Now, I'm going to
Q,
send
you got
y'all the invoice first thing in the morning since I dropped these jewels on y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's $1 million right there. You know what I mean?
Red got you. He big balling over there, Red.
You
Oh yeah,
already
man.
know.
I'm gonna leave y'all with this quote too. Since we talking about invoices, it's from the book, The 48 Laws of Power. Make sure
Mm.
you
Yeah,
guys are
Robert
familiar with
Greene.
this. Right. We normally do a quote for the day before we end our show, and I want to leave you guys with this, and those that are watching. All right. All right. Goes like this: the ending is everything. Plan all the way to it, taking into account all the possible consequences, obstacles, and twists of fortune that might reverse your hard work and give the glory to others. By planning to the end, you will not be overwhelmed by circumstances, and you will know when to stop. Gently guide fortune and help determine the future by thinking far ahead. And I feel like that's a perfect ending. Let that marinate because it kind of like revolves back to what we were just talking about. Right? I think we should all, look forward to 2021 and kind of just take a little bit of that and apply it to our daily lives and our goals. So,
Absolutely. Anything else you want to promote, Rico, man?
Well, I just want to say that's some solid advice. Because I was just having a conversation with an artist. He's working on a series, and I told him to begin with the ending in mind. Like already know with from the start how you want this thing to look.
Right.
And that's easier said than done, no doubt. But
yeah,
like it's just some really sound advice, and I try to live by that too. Like I'm thinking about, okay, come December 31, 2021, these are the things that I wanted to have accomplished. So I'm already beginning the year thinking about how I'm ending the year. So that's solid advice right there.
appreciate
Absolutely,
it.
man. What you got to
That's
promote, Rico? Give them your hashtags where they can find you. The art gallery name again.
Yeah, yeah,
All of
yeah.
that.
So on Instagram, you can follow us, bws.gallery. We also have a website. It's just bwsgallery.com. I need to update that though. So just know you go on there. I don't have the current exhibition up. But also I'm on Instagram myself, Ricco Wrights. My last name is Wright, Wright, but I'm a writer, so it's Riccowrites. I think the last thing I want to say, there's a huge movement on Clubhouse.
I keep
Um,
hearing
Mm.
about that.
yeah, and I just want to encourage the listeners, especially if they're of color, to tap into Clubhouse. There's even a Black Wall Street room. They're basically trying to make it so that what we're doing globally is the new Black Wall Street or Black Wall Street 3.0.
Mm.
And I'm fully in support of that. One of the cats is out of Atlanta, another one is out of Atlanta too. Anyway, it's just people all over the U.S., if not over the world, they're tapping into Clubhouse, especially now because I think anybody can get on. At first, somebody had to recommend you or something like that.
Okay.
So there are a lot of talented people looking for tools and resources and access. They're also looking to share what they have. Um, I would definitely say it's a great platform. There are a lot of us on there. Maybe you could just get on there and check out some of the rooms, and then just see if you can find your community. But they're basically likening Clubhouse to Black Wall Street of yesteryear,
Okay.
given the potential that it has for Black people in particular to support one another in a global context. And I believe in it. I think it does have the potential to do it.
Most definitely. You said that's clubhouse.com?
Well, it's an app on the
Okay, so
phone. It's
app.
just called Clubhouse.
Got you. Okay. What's your website gallery again, man?
BWSgallery.com.
And you got painting on there for sale too, right? Some dope
Well,
shit.
normally I just have people reach out to us
Got you.
via email. Yeah, I might start selling directly from the website. We haven't been doing that because I don't always want to scare people away with the prices.
Got you. You just want to be
You see that
exclusive.
ten
Yeah.
thousand, you might just close the whole window. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. I get it. Yeah, yeah. You want that exclusive. You got them exclusives over there. So sometimes a
Right.
lot of big businesses like that don't have that website anyway. They have a website, but they don't have the prices on there. You got to go there
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
store.
Let me say one thing too, man. It feels good to put on for Black Wall Street in New York. A
So.
lot of people, they walk up and down Canal Street and they'll see the logo Black Wall Street Gallery, or they'll see some of the graffiti in front of the building. They see Black Wall Street, and they're becoming more familiar with it because of like HBO's Watchmen and HBO's Lovecraft Country, or the fact that this year is the centennial anniversary of the massacre. But like, people come in and we engage in a lot of interesting conversations, and I just want to say, for the town, that it feels good to represent y'all. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? And even though like all of that bullshit happened back in June, like that's all gonna be cleared up and we all gonna get past that. And I think it's very important for us to remember that like we come from a rich heritage and a rich history.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of people clinging to this Black Wall Street thing, this Greenwood thing, but we really from there. And we need to really get in front and stay in front of this whole thing before other people take over it. And I mean even our own people.
Absolutely.
It's cool to be supportive of them, but we have to be mindful that those are our like true ancestors in that sense. You
Absolutely.
know. So I'm hoping that we can have more unity amongst ourselves as Tulsa natives, and
We
that
will.
we can really take this thing global.
Absolutely.
We will.
Hey man, we appreciate you, man, Rico, man. Good looking out for even coming
Yeah.
through, man.
Hey, hey, and it's 918 from New York right now. You know what I'm saying? We ending on a good note.
Man.
Yes,
When these
sir.
motherfuckers set that up?
Yes, sir. 918, baby. That's what time it is in New York. That's how we do it,
I
baby.
gotta take a picture of this because that's crazy. Yeah, with the 918 on there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send y'all this picture too. That ain't nothing but the ancestors that did that, yo.
Already.
Right.
Yo,
Already.
I'm telling you right now, we've been on this joint for probably an hour and a half. I hadn't looked at that clock one time.
Already. You already know, man.
And Red had the CD ready. I can't wait to send y'all this photograph.
All I gotta do is just turn around and just go over and bring one over here. There's a whole bunch of them. to my little
Man, I
Spanish brother, man.
appreciate y'all though, man. Y'all really
Appreciate
make me
you too.
feel good.
Yeah, man. Absolutely,
Like
brother.
thank y'all for the love and the support. Like that it means
Likewise.
a lot, you
Absolutely,
know.
man. We appreciate it, man. Like I said, I'm gonna put your gallery information stuff at the bottom, man, and man, we'll definitely speak again, bro. Already.
Yeah,
Salute
I'll
to you.
make time every time, brothers.
Salute to you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, man. We're gonna get up out of here. We appreciate everybody.
All right, this is Just Coolin'. It's been another Just Coolin' episode. Peace.
Dr. Wright.
Peace.